So we will start the subject of enterprise information system in rapid revision batch. Okay. So before going to the subject, we need to understand the purpose and importance of the subject. You know, this enterprise information system is a part of paper 7. Okay. It is paper 7A, enterprise information system, along with strategic management. So you have strategic management for 50 marks, EIS for 50 marks, and in this you will have 15 marks MCQs and 35 marks for theory. Okay. And what are the chapters that are there in this enterprise information system? See, in our material we have chapters like Introduction to Computers, which is purely for academic interest, and we have Components of Information System, Data and DBMS, Information System Risks and Control, Information System Auditing, Business Process Automation, BPA Risks and Controls, Financial and Accounting Systems, Core Banking Systems, E-commerce and M-commerce, and Emerging Technologies. Okay. And in addition to this, we also have supplementary material, which then and there in each chapter we will also refer to the supplementary material. Okay. And now we will start with components of information system, that is lesson number 2. Actually it is the first lesson, because first lesson, Introduction to Computers, is purely for academic interest purpose, that is not there in the syllabus. And let us start from components of information system. See, before starting this lesson, we have to understand what is the purpose of this EIS subject, why this EIS subject is introduced into the syllabus. Okay. See, today there is computerization across the world, that you know. Okay, computers are used everywhere, and we have seen the applications of computers, the applications of internet, and also you might have heard about emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, grid computing, these all things. So why a chartered accountant should have knowledge of EIS, Enterprise Information System? That is the most important thing we need to understand, and that is the appropriate point where we have to start the subject. Okay. See, first let us analyze the words EIS independently. So E stands for enterprise. Okay. Enterprise. Then what do you mean by enterprise? Enterprise is a large establishment. It is an entity which is very large. It is a large establishment. Okay, that is called as an enterprise. A large business organization can be called as enterprise. And from that word only the word entrepreneur comes. Okay, enterprising abilities, these all come from the word enterprise. So enterprise is a very large business organization. And then what is information? See, information is the most important thing for any enterprise, because we have to make decisions in any enterprise, isn't it? Decisions are very, very important. We have to make right kind of decisions. That is, decision making is very, very important in any organization. And how you will make the decisions? How you will make the decisions? You have to make the decisions based on good knowledge. Means, in order to make the decision, a decision maker should have a good knowledge. Good knowledge regarding the issue about what he is making a decision. Okay. Then how will you get the knowledge? You will get the knowledge by assimilating the information. And what is information? Information can be thought of as processed data. Information can be thought of as processed data. Okay. So So what is important? The important thing here is every enterprise, every business organization should have information available to it. That is, before making any decision, every organization should gather the information. Okay, and how can an organization gather the information? That means, what is the possible way to gather the information? So every organization has to set up a system. Means every organization should set up some components in order to make information available to the decision makers in an enterprise. Okay, do you understand that every organization has to set up a system which generates information for the sake of decision makers. Okay, so then now you can easily understand what do you mean by enterprise information system. An enterprise information system provides information of all types, of all kinds, of all sorts to the decision makers to make well-informed decisions. See, we have to make well-informed decisions. This is the most important thing. We have to make well-informed decisions. So in order to make well-informed decisions in an organization, okay, every organization should have a setup. Okay, every organization should have a setup. Setup means what? Setup of hardware, setup of software, setup of data, people. So every organization should set up an information system, and that information system gives the required knowledge, the required information to the decision makers to make the decision. That is what you need to understand. And now, why a chartered accountant should study the subject of EIS? Okay, enterprise information system is for decision makers to make decisions, because decision makers have to make well-informed decisions, and that in order to take the well-informed decisions, they have to set up an information system. That is okay. But why a chartered accountant should have a knowledge of enterprise information system? That is the biggest question before us. So we have to know the answer for that question, and then we will move forward. See, it is the auditor who audits the financial statements of the organization, and in most of the modern organizations, all the financial statements are generated using information systems of the organization. That means today even small organizations also, they have information systems, and these information systems generate different statements, either financial or non-financial statements. And what an auditor will do? An auditor will audit the accuracy of the financial statements. But what is the most important thing here? The most important thing is, how can an auditor assess the validity, the credibility, the accuracy of the financial statements? Because these financial statements are generated by information systems, the softwares that are used in the organization. Now, it is the responsibility of the auditor to know about the information system, and also it is the responsibility of the auditor to audit the information system also. Why? See, you are analyzing the documents that are generated from that information system. But is there any guarantee that the information system is accurate? How can you believe a financial statement that is generated from an information system? You cannot believe. So when can you believe? You can only believe when you know that the information system is perfect. That means now an auditor has to first audit the information system, and then he will have a guarantee, and then he will have a reasonable assurance regarding the accuracy and the credibility of the financial statements. That is what you need to understand. That means an chartered accountant should have a knowledge of information system, its risks and its controls, because first he has to check whether the organizational information system is perfect or not. If the organization's information system is not perfect, then we cannot believe the statements that are being generated, the reports that are being generated by that information system. Okay, see, a scan, let me give you an example. A doctor is basing his treatment on the scanning report, but where is the guarantee that the scanning report is accurate? There may be a glitch, there may be a problem, there may be a snag in the machine, in the scanning machine, isn't it? If there is a problem or if there is an error in the scanning machine, then you may get reports in a errored manner, isn't it? So first what you have to do, you have to check the accuracy, the validity, okay, the exactness of the machine first, and then only you can rely on the report that is being generated by that scanning machine. The same is the case here also. Okay, so why an auditor should have knowledge of EIS means all the organization's information is generated by the information system that is set up in the organization. So now an auditor should have a knowledge about that information system, whether that information system is working perfectly or not, whether all the required controls are being implemented in that information system or not. These all things an auditor has to know. So that is the reason, that is the purpose of this EIS subject. That is why you have to definitely go through this subject called Enterprise Information System. Don't have a misconception that it is a computer related subject in which a chartered accountant is nowhere related, just for the sake of knowledge of computers, just for the sake of knowledge of technology, we have to learn this subject. No, that is all wrong. Okay, that is all wrong. If the knowledge about technology is to be given to you, there are several other areas, there are several other subjects that can be taught to you. Okay, you may be given training in some ERP software, or you may be given some training in an accounting software or some operating system like that, but they are all not given. Why only EIS is given in your syllabus? Why it is only there in your syllabus? Because an auditor has to have a well-defined knowledge about the information system. That is mandatory. That is very much essential to his career. So that is the reason you have to study the subject of Enterprise Information System. Okay, so that is a basic and very brief introduction to the subject of Enterprise Information System. And now let's start with the first lesson, components of information system. Okay, see, in this lesson we will mainly concentrate on what is information system and what are the characteristics of information system and what are the different components of information system. These all areas we will study in this chapter. Now the first question. Okay, what is the first question? Explain the concepts information system, information system and steps in an information system. So these all concepts we need to study. Right. First, what is information? Okay, at first, what is information? See, before knowing about information, you have to know what is data. You have to know what is data. That is the most important thing you have to understand. Okay. Now, information should be understood properly. The term information should be understood properly. Now, let us try to understand what is information. Okay. So, generally the basic definition is that information is a processed data. But first let us understand what is data. Okay. So what is data? See, we collect details from many people. We collect facts and figures from many people. And we also collect facts and figures about different things. So whatever you collect from different people, from different things, from different entities, those all things can be called as data. Those all things can be called as data. That means data is collection of raw facts and figures. Data is collection of raw facts and figures. So we collected the data from different people, different things, different entities. See, this data has to be processed, means this data has to be manipulated, this data has to be arranged in a proper format. See, now you just try to understand the word information. You can break this word in two ways. Inform, that means you put the data in a form, or you can read it like this also, in format. That means if you put the data in a particular format which is very much useful, then it can be called as information. Okay, that means whatever data you have collected from people, from things, okay, from different entities, if you put the data in a particular format which can be used in future, so that particular thing can be called as information. See, the basic difference between data and information is data is not ready to use. Data has to be processed. Okay, and when data is processed, then only it becomes ready to use. That is, information is ready to use, whereas data is not ready to use. You have to process the data and turn the data into information for future use. So that is the basic understanding about information. Okay. Now, what is given here? Data is a raw fact. It can be in the form of a number or statement such as date or measurement which has some meaning. See, data can be anything. You can collect anything about anyone. So that all is considered as data. And now, if you process the data and make the data more useful, if you put the data in a particular format, then that is called as information. Means data put in a format, that is information. Okay, and we have seen the definition of information. Now let us see what is system. See, what do you mean by a system? The best example in this world for a system is our human body. Our human body is a perfect system, because in our human body we have number of components. We have number of components. Okay, we have number of components, isn't it? We have different organs, organ systems in our human body. We have respiratory organs, excretory organs, circulatory organs, digestive organs. Okay, we have lot of things in our human body. See, all these are all components which make up our human body. And in our human body, how all these components are functioning? They are functioning in a interactive, interrelated. They are functioning in a interrelated, okay, integrated, interactive and interdependent manner. That means all the organs in our human body, they are functioning or they are exhibiting these four characteristics. What are they? All the organs are functioning in an interrelated, integrated, interactive and interdependent manner. Okay. Hence, we can say that our human body is a system. That means, when can you call something as a system? What is the basic condition that you should call what is the basic condition when you call something as a system has to be followed? The basic condition is that there should be some components, and all those components should function in a interrelated, integrated, interactive and in interdependent manner. Okay, so that is the basic definition of a system. And if you take that definition, the first thing that comes to our mind is our human body, because our human body is having number of components, and all these components are working by exhibiting these four characteristics: interrelated, integrated, interactive and interdependent. Hence, we can say that our human body is a perfect system. Likewise, we have a computer system, we have an information system, we have a music system, we have a political system, we have a government system, okay, we have a police system. Means the same logic, the same definition applies everywhere. Okay, what is the logic? There will be some components, and these components work in integrated, interrelated, interactive and interdependent manner. That can be thought of as the basic understanding of the system. Now, what it is said here? A system can be defined as group of mutually related cooperating elements with a defined boundary working on reaching a common goal by taking inputs and producing outputs in organized transformation process. That means what? A system will always take some inputs. See, our human body, we are taking inputs, the air, the food, the water. Okay, we take a lot of things as inputs and outputs are generated. That means a system takes inputs and generate outputs in an organized manner. And you know, all the components in our body, they are functioning with a common goal. If different organs in our body, they function separately without interaction and integration, then we cannot live. So all those components should have a common goal. That is very, very important. Okay. See, I am not now telling you about information system. I am just explaining you what a system is. Okay. A system contains several subsystems with sub-goals. Yes, our human body is having different subsystems. We have digestive system. That itself is a system again, because in digestive system again there are many components. In respiratory system again there are many components. In circulatory system again there are many components. So each subsystem contains several subsystems with sub-goals. Okay, and all subsystems try to meet the overall system goal. That means all the subsystems work to reach the main goal of the system. That means in any human body, the digestive system, the excretory system, the circulatory system, the nervous system, these all function in order to keep the body alive. Isn't it right or not? Yes. In the same manner, all the subsystems in a system work with a major goal of keeping the system functioning. Okay, that is the most important thing. Now let us, so far we have taken the example of human body to understand the concept of system. Now let us take the concept of business organization and let us try to understand the business organization also as a system. See, in business organization there will be different functions, isn't it? And each function has to be performed by a particular component. See, in business, dealing with finances is very, very important, and for that we set up a finance department. And in business there will be purchases, and for making purchases we set up a different department. And there will be sales, looked after by a separate department. And there will be human resources, looked after by a separate department. Likewise, there will be marketing, looked after by separate department. Isn't it? Yes. Now, of course, there will be many other things in business, but just I have given you a basic list. So, these all can be thought of as components of the business. That means, for a business to run successfully, these all components should be present. And how all these components should function? These all components should function in a integrated, interactive, interrelated, interdependent manner. Then only an organization can function properly. See, it is called as organization. That means these are all organs. These are all organs. And these organs have to function properly. Then only the business functions properly. Isn't it? So that you have to understand. So, and see, for example, there will be a relationship between HR and finance for the sake of salaries and for many other reasons. And see, finance department is related with all the other departments, marketing, purchases, sales. Everyone is dependent on finance department. And also everyone is dependent on HR department. If you want some people in marketing department, the HR manager has to recruit. That means HR is dependent, HR is related to all other departments. That means in a business organization, you can easily find this kind of interaction and interdependence among the various components. So we can say that business is also a system. And now computer is also a system. For a computer to function, a RAM should be there, ROM should be there, hard disk should be there, processor should be there. Several components are required. And these all components should work in an integrated fashion. Then only the computer will function. Then only the system will function. That is what you need to understand about the word system. For example, finance, operations and marketing areas of an organization will have goals. They work together to achieve the overall corporate objective. See, generally every department has its own role to play. But all organizations, all departments, they function with a common goal. Whether it is finance department, whether it is marketing department, whether it is HR department, all of these departments function in order to achieve the corporate objective of the company. That means the overall objective of the company. The company has an objective. And in order to achieve that objective, all these departments, all these functions should work. That means, see, finance is itself a subsystem. Purchase is itself a subsystem. Sales is itself a subsystem. And all these subsystems of business should not work independently. They have to work in an interdependent manner in order to achieve the goal of the business. That is most important thing. And now let us see what is an information system. Information system is a combination of people, hardware, software, communication devices, network, data resources that processes data and provide information for a specific purpose. That is what you need to understand about information system. See, what is an information system? It is again a collection of several components like what? People, hardware, software, communication devices, network and data resources. That means these all components should come together, should work together for an information system to function. Okay. See, for example, information system means what? First of all, information system means actually software. Information system means actually software. But you please tell me, can software function by itself? No. Software requires hardware to function. Isn't it right or not? They are complementary to each other. Hardware and software are complementary to each other. So there should be hardware for the software to function. Means another component came. And there should be people to work to join this software and hardware. There should be people to write the software. there should be people to construct the hardware, and there should be people to join this both hardware and software. That means another important component, that is people, is required. Okay, software is there, hardware is there, people are there. Then, is information system ready? No. We need to have data. Without data, where can you get the information? Because already we studied, information is processed data. So, where will you get the information? From where you will get the information if there is no data? So, definitely there should be another component, that is data. Okay, software is there, hardware is there, people are there, and data is there. Then, if you observe, all the organizations, they are very big. Hence, you have to collect data from different places. An organization will have different branch offices, an organization will have different computers, different departments. And you need to collect data from all those departments or from all those branches. Then again you require network, isn't it? Network. So, these all components, software, hardware, network, people, data, ought to be there. Then, if all these components work together in a proper format, then we can say that organization is having a perfect information system. Okay, that is the basic definition of information system. See, sir, why an organization has to set up this information system? The reason is, organization has to make decisions properly. And you know, the name of the company Infosys came from this information system only. It is a short form of information system. That means Infosys company makes or gives information systems to the business. Means information systems that are helpful for taking better decisions to the business people. Next. And how you can make use of the information system, already we learned. Information system takes input as data, process it, and finally gives the output. Okay. So, first of all, for an information system to function, data has to be entered into the system, and this system processes the data. Okay. And finally it gives the output, and that output is communicated. Output means information, input means data, output means information, and that information is communicated to the user. Okay. So, that is what we need to understand. And now let us move forward to the second question. What are the characteristics of computer based information systems? See, computer based information systems have some objectives. See, without an objective, will we develop a system? Will we set up a system? See, for example, if there is an information system, for that information system there is an objective. Providing information to the decision makers is the objective. Okay. So, likewise, every information system, either it is marketing information system, sales information system, customer relationship management system, invoicing system, every information system has an objective. And without objective, nothing can be built. Okay. So, every system has some objective, and every system has component that already we know. In the definition of the system itself, we came to know that a system will have a lot of components put together which work in a mutual manner. Okay, that already we know. And there is, these all points I have already told you, interdependence, interaction, okay, and integration will be there among all those components. They should not work in a mutually exclusive manner. They should work in an inclusive manner. All components working in order to satisfy the goal of the entire system. All organs in our body have to function towards the well-being of the body. In the same way, all the departments in an organization has to function, okay, basing on all the departments in an organization has to function by keeping in mind the what? By keeping in mind the overall goal of the organization. Next, priority of goal. Yes, the system goal is of higher priority than the subsystem goal. That means, okay, finance department has its own goals, but what is the ultimate goal? The finance department has to look for the organizational goal. That is very, very important. Next, the third question. What are the main components of information system? This already we studied. The main purpose of each information system is to convert the data into useful and meaningful information. Yes. What is information system? A system means a setup of people, hardware, software, data, network. This is called the setup. A setup of all these components is called as a system. And why we made this setup? To provide information to the decision makers. See, the components of information system are the first one: people, hardware, software, data and networks. These are all the components. So people means, yes, I have already told you, people are very important component in the computer based information system. The people involved include users of the system, information systems personnel, including all the people who manage, run and program and maintain the system. That means several types of people are required. To build an information system, we require programmers, we require data entry operators, we require network specialists, we require data scientists, we require database administrators, we require security personnel, we require ethical hackers, okay, and means several categories of people are required to set up an information system. That is the component of people, okay. And coming to hardware, hardware means what? It is the collection of physical components, the tangible components which you can touch and see. So hardware is fundamentally required to set up an information system. Hardware means all the servers, all the hardware components, the firewalls, the network gear, the telecom gear. Gear means equipment. So network equipment, telecom equipment, storage equipment, input devices, output devices, these all things are required in an information system. And software, I have told you, you can take software as a synonym for information system, okay. Information system means software only, but for the software to be functional, you require hardware, okay. So software is, what do you mean by software? Software is a set of instructions. See, we give instructions to the computer, so the computer should understand those instructions and it has to perform accordingly. So we make a software, okay, and use that software to do our work. And there are two kinds of software: application software and system software. Operating system software and application software. Within a short time, we will learn about that thing also, the differences between operating system software and application software. And now data. Data is another, again, the most important component. It is a raw fact, okay. I told you, data can be in any format, data can be anything about anyone, okay. And network, a network is a collection of computers. A network is a collection of computers. Means if you want to exchange data between two computers, definitely you need to connect them either in a wired mode or in a wireless mode, okay. And then only the data exchange happens. The data from one computer will go to another computer. So for that we require networks, okay. And in networks, generally the network will be like this. There is one computer here and there is another computer here, and we have to join these two computers, and this is called as a node. Of course, we have different terminology for this. We can call that as a node, as a client, okay, as a workstation. We can call with different names, but in general we will call it as a node. Next. So now let us move forward to hardware. What is meant by hardware and what are the components of hardware? Already we studied hardware means the physical components of the computer system. Hardware means the physical components of the computer system. Means whatever things are there inside a computer, they all can be considered as hardware. Okay. Hardware consists of input, processing, data storage and output devices. So we will study one by one. First one, input devices. Input devices are the devices through which we interact with the system, keyboard, mouse, scanner or some examples of input devices. See, we need to send data inside the computer, and whatever data we send into the computer, it is called as input, and definitely we require some kind of device to send the data into the computer. So those devices are called as input devices. Generally, what devices we use to send the data inside the computer? We use a keyboard, a mouse, a scanner, okay, and several other things we use. Next, so once data enters into the computer, it has to be processed, isn't it? So the CPU or the microprocessor is the actual hardware that executes the software instructions and manages all the other hardware devices in the computer. See, generally computer is called as a processing device. Okay, that means the CPU is the most important component in a computer. That CPU will take the instructions given by the user or the instructions given by the software and execute those instructions and finally gives the output. Next, we need to have data storage devices. Data storage devices means we want to keep our data stored inside the computer. Then definitely we require some hard disk, some SSD storage, static solid state devices. Recently they are the trend, SSD storage. Okay, we need to have some pen drive kind of thing, some flash memory or some hard disk or some CD, DVD. There are many storage devices. Okay, we require them. And the next one, output devices. That means the user has to see the output. For that, user requires some output devices also. What are those output devices? It may be if it is an audio output, it may be speaker or a headphone, or if it is a visual output, you need some screen monitor. If you want hard copy, you have to use the printer and plotters. These are all output devices. And next, what is CPU, and explain different functions of the CPU. You know, CPU is the most important and fundamental component of the computer. CPU is the actual hardware that executes the software instructions and manages all other hardware devices in a computer. That is why we generally call the CPU as the brain and heart of the computer. Okay, because without CPU, you cannot imagine the functioning of a computer. That is why it is called central. Central means main. Okay, and it is made up of silicon material, and the main function of the CPU is to execute programs stored in RAM. That means whatever instructions we give to the computer, first they reach the RAM inside the computer, and from RAM CPU will take them and execute. Okay, CPU, you cannot directly give your instruction to the CPU. Whatever instruction you give to the computer, that first gets stored in the RAM, and from RAM the CPU accesses the instruction. That is what you need to understand. And CPU consists of three parts. What are they? The control unit, which controls everything inside the CPU. Okay, and the arithmetic and logical unit, which performs all the calculations, the additions, subtractions, logical operations like greater than, less than, equal to. Okay, these all means it is a calculational part of the CPU. Arithmetic and logical unit, the name itself is self-explanatory. The arithmetic and logical unit is the calculational part of the CPU. And in CPU again we have registers. Okay, in CPU again we have registers. So if you take the CPU like this, you can divide the CPU into three parts. This can be called as registers part. This can be thought of as control unit, and this is arithmetic and logical unit. So, these registers means they are basic units of memory, they are basic units of storage. Okay. In electronics terminology, registers are the fundamental memory units. That means our memory gets stored in the registers inside the, our data gets stored in the registers inside the memory. Okay, that is what you need to understand. And there are some kinds of registers like accumulators, registers, address registers, storage registers, and many other registers which we term them as miscellaneous registers. That means in the registers inside the CPU, there are different types of registers. See, all are registers only, but basing on the work they do, we name them. Basing on the work they do, we name them. How we name them? If some registers are used to store the data, then we call them as storage registers. If some registers are used to store the intermediate results. Intermediate results means, see, for example, computer won't do list addition. Like, for example, if you give 5, 4, 5, what is the sum? We will generally do in this fashion: 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 5, 14. We will do like this. But the CPU will not do in that way. First CPU will add 5, 4, 9, and 9 is kept separate, and again 5 is added to 9. So, this 9 becomes an intermediate result. The final result is 14. 9 is the intermediate result, and this intermediate result is stored in one register, that is called as accumulator. Okay. And likewise, there are some registers which are used to store the addresses of the data. In computer, there will be address for every data item. So, the registers which store the address of the data item, they are called as address registers, and there are many other registers. Next, explain different types of data storage devices. Explain different types of data storage devices. Data storage refers to the memory where data is stored. Various types of memory devices are given below. First one, internal memory. What do you mean by internal memory? Internal memory means the memory inside the CPU. It is called as internal memory. The memory inside the CPU. See, CPU is having a memory. What did I tell you? Register is a basic unit of memory. Did I tell you that? Yes. Register is the basic unit of memory. So, inside the CPU, there is some memory in the form of registers. So, that is called as internal memory. That is called as internal memory. Okay. So, that is very, very important. Next, processor registers. Yes, internal memory or processor registers, we can take one and the same. See, these registers are very fast and very small. Yes, a register cannot store more than 32 bits of data or 64 bits of data. Means very small in size. Okay, that means one register can store very, very small amount of data. Next, primary memory or main memory. In computers, again we have a primary memory or main memory. These are the devices in which any location can be accessed by the computer's processor in any order. These are primarily of two types. First one, random access memory. See, in computer we have primary memory. Computer memory can be divided into two: primary memory and secondary memory. Okay, primary memory and secondary memory. See, this primary memory is also called as systems memory because this is very much helpful for the computer to function. Hence, it is called as systems memory. So, this primary memory is of two types: RAM and ROM. See, why the name RAM came? It is random access memory. That means you can access that memory in any fashion you want. You can access that memory randomly. See, memories can be accessed sequentially, means sequential access memories. Memories can be accessed randomly, random access memories. Memories can be accessed directly, direct access memories. But as a primary memory inside our computer, we use the second type of memory called as RAM, random access memory. That means, for example, there is 6 GB RAM in your computer. This 6 GB RAM can be accessed in any fashion you want, that is randomly. Okay. So, hence it is called as random access memory. For example, if it is a sequential access memory like this, sequential access memory, then you cannot access whatever location you want. You cannot access like that. Okay. You have to access it sequentially, one after one like that. Then it is called as sequential access memory. But whereas RAM can be accessed in any fashion, from front, from back, in the middle, randomly, whatever location you want, you can access. There is no need to follow a sequence or order, nothing is required. So, that is what you need to understand. And now, let us read about the RAM. You know, RAM is volatile memory. That means, whatever contents that are stored inside the RAM, they will be wiped off, they will be vanished once you stop power supply to the computer. Hence, it is called as volatile memory. And RAM is a read-write memory. RAM is a read-write memory. What do you mean by read-write memory? You can access the data from the RAM, that is called reading. You can store data into the RAM, that is called writing. That means you can do both the things. And in this, it holds instructions and data that the computer is using at the present moment. You know, RAM is very, very important to a computer. A CPU cannot function if there is no RAM. Really. Because just now I told you, CPU takes data to process from RAM only. If RAM is not there, CPU cannot process the data. CPU will not get the data. So, that is why RAM is very, very important component inside the computer. And next, coming to ROM. This is a non-volatile memory. Okay. Non-volatile memory means what? Just now I told you RAM is a volatile memory. That means when the power is switched off, all the contents will be wiped off. But whereas in ROM, read-only memory, it is a non-volatile. That means the contents remain even you switch off the power. And you know, even the pen drive what we use, it is also a ROM. It is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, EEPROM. Okay. And we generally say CD-ROMs, compact disc read-only memory. Okay. So, why it is read-only memory? Because, see, the manufacturers of the computers, they put some valuable information, inside the ROM, which is very much essential for booting the system. Okay. So, that is why it is made as read only. That means you can only read what is there inside that memory. You cannot store your content. You cannot store your data into that memory. See what happens if we store our data into that memory, it may get affected with some virus, it may get affected with some malware, so that from next time onwards our system will not start. So, for that security reasons, that memory is made as read only. That means already the manufacturers at the time of manufacturing, they store some important data into the ROM chip and they burn it. Okay. That means further you cannot store into that memory, but you can read from it. You cannot write into it. Okay. It is called as read only memory. And even this RAM and ROM are very much required for a system to start, for a system to boot. That is the most important thing. And usually these are used to store that I have already covered. Information, that also I covered. And now coming to the secondary memory. Secondary memory means what? See, what classification did I give you here? Primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory is called as systems memory, whereas secondary memory is users memory. We use secondary memory to store our data. All the hard disk, pen drives, CD, DVD, SSD, these all come under secondary storage. These are used to store users' data, and obviously they are non-volatile. They are non-volatile, okay? And that is what about secondary memory, okay? And next, what is cache memory? C-A-C-H-E. Some people pronounce it as cache memory, or some people pronounce it as cache memory. Either way is correct, no problem. See, here a diagram which clearly explains the concept is given. See, generally the CPU takes data from the primary memory. The CPU takes data from the primary memory. Primary memory means what? RAM. CPU takes data from the RAM. But sometimes this primary memory, that is RAM, will be very slow. CPU cannot access the RAM in a faster manner, and CPU wants data in a faster manner, and RAM cannot give the data at such higher speeds to the CPU. So, in order to bridge the speed differences between the CPU and the RAM, the computer engineers, they have devised a new kind of RAM. See, cache memory is also a RAM. See, if you want to understand the concept, you have to know a very important point here. See, RAM is again of two types: static RAM and dynamic RAM. Static RAM and dynamic RAM. See, whatever we are generally calling as RAM, that our computer is having 6 GB of RAM or 8 GB of RAM, it is all dynamic category. But in our computer, we also have a static RAM with a name cache memory. Okay, so it is also a RAM, but its nature is static, its nature is dynamic. And static RAM is more faster, okay, more stable. It is static, no, it is stable, means the data in it will be stable. Whereas in dynamic RAM, the data is not stable. Of course, that is a deeper technical issue, and we are not going to discuss that issue here. Why it is called dynamic and why it is called static, that is not our subject matter. Just we understand that RAM is divided into two types, the static RAM and the dynamic RAM. The cache memory belongs to static RAM, okay? And now what the computer engineers did, they put a small amount of static RAM in between this primary memory and CPU. For what? In order to bridge the speed differences between RAM and CPU. So that is called as cache memory. The first point I have covered, the second point also I have covered, and cache is a smaller, faster memory. It's a very small, and at the same time it is very expensive. That is why we call it as cache, C-A-S-H, cache memory. Okay, and what will this cache memory contain? This cache memory contains the data from RAM only. Okay, the copies of data from RAM will be there in the cache memory. And when RAM is not attentive and when RAM is not giving the data for the CPU, then cache memory will try to give data to the CPU, so that CPU's waiting time is eliminated. See, CPU's time is very, it's very important. So CPU should not waste the time. If CPU time is wasted, then the processing will become very slow. So the CPU should not wait. CPU should get the data immediately. So sometimes the original RAM may not give the data that is required by the CPU. So at that time, the cache comes in between and gives the data to the CPU. And as it is a cache memory is also a kind of RAM, it is also volatile. That means when you put off the system, all the content in this cache memory will also be vanished. Okay, so that is about cache memory.
Hi students, I am Prakash, Academic Advisor, Masterminds. Just now you have watched a sample video of our rapid revision batches for CA Inter level. So we are very happy to say that we have developed this kind of rapid revision batches for all the subjects of CA Inter and IPCC level. And if you are interested, then you can directly purchase rapid revision batch videos of your choice from our app. So first of all, you please do install our Android app Masterminds Online Classes from Google Play Store. So after that, click the option Store. After that, select the filter CA Inter RRB. CA Inter RRB. Yeah, here it is CA Inter RRB. So whatever the subject you want, you can purchase the same. And for each video, there will be around 6 months of validity. That means whenever you purchase a course, there will be 6 months of validity. That means you can watch at any time before 6 months after the date of purchase. And we will be giving 1.5 views. That means each 1 hour of video you can watch for around 1.5 hours. And these videos can be watched directly in your mobile phone. And if you belong to iOS platform, then please do install an app called Class Plus and enter the organization code as MZGUN. I hope that you liked the sample video of RRB subject being uploaded by us, and please do subscribe this channel so that you can receive a notification whenever we add a new video, and also press the like button if you really like this video, and also press the bell icon so that you will receive a notification. And please do send a mail to my mail ID if at all you have any academic doubts or issues. My mail ID is mssprakash2012@gmail.com. So once you visit our app, not only RRB videos, you can find large number of other videos also. If you belong to CA Inter, then so in the filter section you can select the option CA Inter. Then all the videos related to CA Inter will be visible to you. So just now I have pressed the option of CA Inter. Now all these are the videos available for CA Inter. For example, if you want to watch the videos of a particular subject at CA Inter level, or a particular chapter at CA Inter level, either of regular batch or crash batch, all such videos are already available in the app. So the videos related to CA Inter regular batches, videos related to CA Inter crash batches are already available in this app. Either you can purchase a particular subject, or sometimes even some few chapters, or even the entire group you can purchase directly from the app. That is the convenience with which you can watch the videos by installing our app. All the best. Let's have a glimpse into the roots of the Masterminds. So Masterminds were established in 2002 and is undeniably the pioneer and the leader in MEC, CA and CMA coaching in India, with a lion's share of nearly 20,000 admissions per annum. It is an incredible initiative by 3 visionary edupreneurs. That is me, MSS Prakash, Chartered Accountant, my brother Mohan, my sister-in-law Radha, from the same family at a very young age under the successful mentorship of our father, Mr. M. Sivaprasad. Within the shortest span, our presence have expanded to almost all major cities of AP and Telangana. We are humbled to say that very soon we want to expand to the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu also, So especially with the wishes and support of all our old students. We offer best quality services for MEC with integrated coaching for CRCMA Foundation. Exclusive MEC CEC coaching is also available. Regular class, study hours and revision exams, MMTS services for all the levels of CSCMA courses. And recently we launched a unique academic program called MEC Pro, aiming the students who aspire to pursue BBA, CLAT or MBA in future rather than CSCMA courses, and we have received excellent response. So our students have achieved first rank for 47 times in various courses that we offer coaching. Till now, our students have bagged 977 All India ranks in all the stages of CSCMA courses. So 98 All India ranks in a single attempt of CMA inter and final exams, and 180 All India ranks in CSCMA courses in 2019 and 20 alone. So 3 All India first ranks in the year 2020 alone. So right now we have around 150 batches of various courses in Guntur and all our branches together.